Harry here to talk about day one follow-up from the big revelations of the Epstein emails that roiled the Capitol yesterday, and I think are going to continue to. Remember that the Dems released 3 emails that cast pretty much everybody, Trump, Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, in a bad light. And the Republicans followed up with 20,000 pages. It's a sort of tried and true strategy of defense litigators to just throw a blizzard at people so they can't work their way through. But anyway, even that's partial. And recall, these documents all come in response to a subpoena to the Epstein estate. None of them, they could coincidentally overlap, but none of them are the documents in the DOJ's possession that everyone is now insisting must come out. And indeed, there's going to be a vote that puts Republicans on the hot seat. Speaker of the House Johnson literally closed down the House of Representatives for weeks to keep this from happening during the shutdown negotiations. And that's how incendiary I think the R's generally see these documents as being, at least potentially. But now they're going to have to be on the record, and it's going to be a vote that could have political repercussions for those who continue to say, no, don't release it, especially now that several R's have already come out saying we support the release, and if this motion comes to the floor, we're going to vote for it. Okay. Anyway, so you're going to have people working through these docs for a while, and there'll be follow-up. I wanted to give you sort of day one report. So the focus now turns to a kind of bizarre part of the whole cache of docs, which is Epstein himself basically portraying himself as a Trump insider. He on the one hand wants people to think of him, and people do think of him. People come to him. Actually, people come to him for all kinds of things, including like romantic advice or book publishing advice. I don't know how he positioned himself in that role, but that's kind of the a key to his, general social standing, even as he is simultaneously running a sex ring exploiting minor girls. It's just, a crazy kind of dual lifestyle. But anyway, he, is obviously very focused on Trump. On the one hand, he wants to show he knows everything. He's talking to Trump's biographer, Michael Wolff, and teasing about, and to others, would you like pictures of Trump walking around with minor girls in bikinis and the like? He actually tried to get different newspapers to publish some of this, and they don't. But the bottom line is, later in the whole period, way after he's already had the sweetheart deal in Florida, but before he's reindicted, he has this schizophrenic attitude toward Trump, where he wants to be kind of knowledgeable about him. He's giving all this information, and he seems to, this is the kind of headline, he boasts that he could take him down. So there's an exchange with the author Michael Wolff, where Epstein actually asked Wolff's advice, and Wolff is saying, you've got this info in your pocket. You could bring him down if you want. And this is in the wake of the Access Hollywood revelation. So Trump is at a maximum vulnerability. We saw the dynamic there in the New York trial, where he pays hush money out and then papers it over illegally to Stormy Daniels. But the idea is, well, he can either use it to bring him down or not use it to bring him down, and therefore have Trump in his debt, because he has forbore from doing just this. But so that's the what do you make of this? I personally, as we pour through all these emails, am inclined to basically set to the side any kind of claims and arguments from Epstein himself. Maybe, but they are such a tarnished source. To me, the email from yesterday that mattered the most is the one where he wasn't performing and would have been authentic. The discussion between him and his number one helper here, Ghislaine Maxwell, where he says to her, the dog that hasn't barked is Donald Trump, in talking about the Florida investigation. And, he was at the house with Virginia Joyfrey, one of the most prominent victims. And Maxwell writes back, I've been thinking about that, which parenthetically puts the lie completely to Maxwell's self-serving claim that she delivered up to the Deputy Attorney of the United States, who had no business whatsoever being there, that of course she knows about this conduct and maybe even knows about what Trump did. Okay, but so that's the kind of day one follow-up. The whole, Epstein thinks he can bring him down, he must know stuff. As the New York Times put it, the messages are by turns gossipy, scathing, and scheming. Indeed, that's a fair characterization, and I wanted to sort of spell it all out because that's where today's Epstein news is taking us. Again, I think as a former prosecutor, my instinct is very much to set certain emails that really have a potential agenda to the side. Not to say, they're obviously worthless, but the real, I think, needles in the haystack here are going to be the ones that have independent indicia of being credible. For example, the Epstein to Maxwell exchange, there's no reason at the time to try to be, to her, puffing or for her to be prevaricating, right? She doesn't say, what are you talking about, Donald? She said, I've been thinking about that. That's the sort of candid exchange that tells you a lot. And I think it'll be important in this huge cache, not to mention the potential 300,000 pages that the DOJ is under pressure to release to really distinguish the wheat from the chaff. But I suspect when you pile up the wheat, there's going to be, quite a lot of it. And the one reason to believe that is because it's so clear that Trump has been desperate all the way through for this stuff not to come out. And recall all the scandals starting from Access Hollywood that he's just been able to, survive. And so the anxiety here is pretty palpable. There was, in fact, yesterday when the new member was sworn in and gave the 218th vote to call for the release of the documents and a vote on the House floor, which is going to happen. Once she cast that 218th vote, you can't back away from it. Anyone who is cast, it's considered under House rules cast in stone. So Mikey Sherrill is going to become governor next week. She'll resign. It doesn't matter. Her signature is on the paper. Trump was calling Lindsey Boebert, one of the three Republicans who had broken ranks, to the White House to try to change things desperately. Obviously, the political momentum that this seems uniquely in the annals of Trump scandals to acquire is something that produces fear and loathing in the White House and for Trump in particular. And, it makes us all want to know, with a guy with his kind of track record of sexual and other scandals, what is it about this one that really has him wigging out? Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.